Hi guys. Well, the Fed came out today and announced that some of the programs to stimulate the economy that they put into place in March, they're going to be extended by 3 months. Those programs were originally scheduled to end after September, but they've now determined that they're going to end at the end of the year. This is an indication that the Fed believes its monetary policy needs to go on longer than originally thought. It's an indication that the economic circumstances from the Fed's perspective is more challenged than we originally thought. And it's a remedy that they think will be important, at the very least, to mitigate the ongoing issues in the economy. Now, we've talked in other videos about how the Fed does monetary policy, but remember, when they implement this policy, they're effectively putting money in the economy. And I know I often say they're printing money, but that's more figurative because printing money implies cash, and cash is a very small portion of money used in the economy. Most money that people use is electronic, right? Even your own day-to-day purchases, a lot of it probably occurs through debit cards or through electronic transfers, PayPal, all sorts of electronic money. Cash might be a small portion of that. So just understand when I say printing money, I'm talking about expanding the money supply in general. So what the Fed does is they expand the money supply in order to get people to spend money and to counter the contractionary forces that exist right now because of COVID and because of the recession. However, what they're really doing is they're creating more lending programs. I mean, if the Fed prints money and they get it to you somehow, then they're effectively lending you money. And the way that we see new money in the economy is through lower interest rates, because interest rates are the price of borrowing money. So if the Fed is making more money available to borrow, that is, they're lending more, then we would expect that prices of borrowing would go down, right? Just like if there's more bananas in the economy, you'd expect prices of bananas to go down, all else equal. If there's more lending in the economy, you would expect interest rates to go down, all else equal. So most of the time when the Fed increases the money supply, they are pushing down interest rates, and that's how we feel the benefits of that. Okay, let's take a look at this chart down here to kind of highlight what the Fed is doing. When the Fed wants to stimulate the economy through monetary policy, what they will do is they will buy assets. And this chart here shows the assets that they've been purchasing. So this is their asset portfolio. It's nothing more than the total value of everything the Fed owns. And these are primarily what the Fed owns. Okay? So for example, if we look at the totality, you'll notice prior to 2008, everything the Fed owned was less than $1 trillion, right? Trillions. And today it's over 7 trillion. So since 2008, we've pretty much been on an upward trajectory towards increasing the assets held by the Fed, which is the same as saying we've been increasing the amount of money the Fed has put in the economy. There is a little bit of a drop in assets here, which means they actually took money out of the economy, contractionary monetary policy, but that didn't last very long. And with COVID here, you'll notice this is the greatest increase in asset purchases since 2008, and it's also, of course, the greatest amount of monetary expansion since 2008. So what has the Fed been purchasing? What types of assets? Well, there's a lot of details here, but to simplify, some of the assets the Fed has purchased have been treasuries, and that's here long-term treasuries, right? And here, traditional security holdings. Traditionally, they would buy treasuries. So these two categories here make up the Federal Reserve printing money and funneling that money to the Treasury. Now, why would they want to funnel money to the Treasury? Because the Treasury often is running deficits. That is, they want to spend more than they're bringing in taxes. Another category is mortgage bonds. This is where the Fed purchases mortgages, which are home loans, and funnels money to the housing sector. Another category is loans to financial institutions and credit markets. So both of these we can kind of put together and say it's all other loans. It's not mortgages and it's not treasuries. It could be credit card loans, it could be auto loans, it could be business loans, it could be a whole host of different loans that banks make. So when the Fed prints money and they give it to banks, the banks then kind of determine who gets that money. But it's stimulatory, right? I mean, if a bank gives you a new credit card because the bank has access to Federal Reserve lending, then you're shopping, right? And you're stimulating the economy with new money. The bank is just an intermediary there between the Fed and you. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of how the Fed gets that money into specific areas of the economy. And remember, when they do this, when they purchase these assets, these loans, they are putting more loanable funds into each of these markets, and they're pushing down interest rates. And that's how it's revealed to the actual people in the economy. For example, when the Fed buys mortgage bonds, you see interest rates on home loans go down, stimulating purchase of new homes. When the Federal Reserve buys long-term treasuries and the traditional treasuries, the federal government sees lower interest rates on the money it borrows. And so it's going to want to spend more. And the Federal Reserve makes loans to financial institutions, then we would expect to see interest rates go down for things like credit cards and business loans and auto loans and things like that. All around, the Fed, through monetary expansion and the expansion of its asset portfolio, is lowering interest rates, and that stimulates spending in the economy and can have a positive effect on GDP and lower unemployment. But it can also come with inflation, so we have to be careful not to be too aggressive with monetary expansion, lest we end up undermining our goals of stabilizing the economy. All right, thanks guys. If you have questions, let me know.